For that our share of mistakes, I really don't want to find. When you're lying next to me, makes me want to cry. That you're the one for me. Please don't ever leave me, because I don't know if I could go on if you decided to go. You're the only reason I have to live, and you're the one for me. Well, my candle's burning in your eyes tonight. But for that our share of mistakes, I really don't want to fight. When you're lying next to me, it makes me want to cry. That you're the one for me. You're the one for me. Hello, folks. Welcome to Hanging with Hastings. This is a very special edition this week. I'm with my buddy Randy Barnard, who we've been friends since 1968, when we weren't even born yet. See, 4 years old, Randy was 5, and we've been fortunate enough to share an entire lifetime together as friends, and it's a very special moment. So this is what this show is going to be about today. A little bit of a story of our friendship, and we grew up together, and some of the little stories that we have to share. And that song that we just played for you was a song that we wrote in 1982. When we were in our very first band together. And You're the One for Me. And it was a song about a high school girlfriend. And even though it's what now, can you believe that song is now 42 years old?
Wow.
That song's almost a grandparent now. So, that's classic rock, Randy.
Yeah, sure is.
So yeah, we wrote that in 1982, and I remember we wrote it at a party. We were playing a party. What was the guy's name again? You know, remember he had the one in the gut.
Dave Kaiser.
Dave Kaiser, the guy hired us for a party, and after the party was over, and we were kind of clearing all of our equipment, Randy had that lick for the song, and I just came up with words to it. And it's a song that's we're still, I still play it live every once in a while in my shows with my wife, and whenever we get together with the Hastings band, we always do that song. So it's a song that I guess it's stood the test of time. For the lyrics are corny and that because I was 17, 18 years old when I wrote it. The words, and but Randy's melody was always beautiful. I thought it was one of those songs that I remember our parents liked, so they tolerated our noise.
The most quiet one
because we could do that song, and that made up for all the noise and all the time the police used to come when we practiced. But I want to talk about with you, Randy. It wasn't just the band that we had music in common with. We started a thing. We lived on Bouck Street when we were growing up in Tonawanda, New York, and we started our own little radio station when we were, gosh, I don't know, what were we, like 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. We brought our stereos out, and we called ourselves, what was it, Randy?
Station KID.
Station KID.
We were playing our Kiss music.
And we played Kiss, and we would play Carry On Wayward Son. Full blast. And I had a little microphone that my parents bought me from Century, the store Century. I don't even, people are probably listening now and saying, what is Century? It was kind of like a Walmart before there was Walmart. And they bought me a little microphone, so we would play our 8 tracks of the songs, and we would DJ this for the whole neighborhood. And you got to think about too, like, there were a lot of kids in our neighborhood though back then. It's not like it is today, where I go on Bouck Street once in a while and I see, and there's hardly any children out there playing. But when we grew up, there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood, so we were blasting the music full blast, and Station KID. And we also, before we learned how to play an instrument, I can remember like being in your parents' basement, and we had our brooms.
I don't remember.
He doesn't remember the brooms, right? But I remember the brooms, and we were pretend we were playing "Blinded by the Light" by Manfred Mann.
I might have remembered that.
Yeah.
I love that song.
And we had all of our little hockey equipment. Cause I remember. Do you remember you had the best goalie pads? And we used to fight over who gets to be the goalie, so we could put the pads on. And we used to play this. If you ever seen the movie Wayne's World, where it had game on, game, stuff like that, or car, stuff like that. That's what we used to do all the time too. And Randy pretended he was Desjardins.
Who's that?
he was the goalie after Crozier, right, for the Sabres,
yep.
Right? So those are great memories and stuff that I'll always keep with me. Then around 79, and this is a special thing too, Randy was a year ahead of me in school, and I went to St. Francis in grade school, and Randy was in the public schools, Central School and junior high and that, and he knew Brian Best, before I knew him, and we decided we didn't want to play the broom anymore, and we didn't want to be Station KID, and we actually wanted to learn how to play some instruments. And we would go to Schmeichel's on Payne Avenue. Do you remember that?
You would ride on my handlebars.
I would ride on the handlebars holding the guitar.
Imagine these 2 slim guys on a bike.
We might kill that bike now. That's like 500 pounds on that bike now. So
with a banana seat.
So we would ride the bikes over to Schmeichel's on Payne Avenue in North Tonawanda. In fact, I remember one time we were coming back from a lesson, and it was during the TNT weekend, which TNT, if anyone doesn't know, was Tonawanda against North Tonawanda. We were bitter rivals, and the TNT game was the big football game that Tonawanda always lost. Our team always lost, but we were coming back from during, they were having the parades for the TNT weekend, and we were on Payne Avenue, and we're Tonawanda guys, and we're in North Tonawanda, and this car full of Tonawanda guys saw us riding the bicycle, me carrying the guitar on the handlebars, and they go, "There's some kids from NT, let's egg them," and we yell out, "No, we're from Tonawanda." So they let us go, but the car directly behind them was North Tonawanda people, so they egged us and stuff. So we're dodging eggs and that, and we get to the Seymour Bridge, which connects Tonawanda to North Tonawanda, and we found all these cartons of eggs on the roadside, and we're picking them up, and we found the carton, we're putting these eggs into the carton, and this cop pulls over. And he's like, "Oh, you're the guys that are egging people," and we're like, "No, we've got eggs. We just picked these up here." And remember the cop did, he took the eggs and he just smashed them on the ground. He goes, "What do you think of that?" And Randy goes, "I don't care. I didn't buy them." So that was great, great moment. So we were not happy with what we were learning at Schmeichel's, though, because we weren't learning rock and roll. And that's where Brian came in. And I remember Randy telling me, "Hey, I got this guy that plays guitar and stuff. We should, maybe he'll teach us some chords and stuff, and teach us how to play some of the rock and roll. And that's how I met Brian. Randy had moved, by that time, Randy's family had moved to Catherine Street, a couple blocks away from us. And on Catherine Street, they had a beautiful barn in the backyard. It was a huge backyard, and it had a barn in it. So Randy's folks let us set all of our equipment up, and we would play in the barn. And that's the first time I met Brian. That was in 1979. I can still see him. You open the door to the barn, and there was Brian with his Gibson playing Wang Dang Sweet Poontang. And we became good friends with Brian. I became good friends. Randy already was. I became great friends with Brian, but we didn't form a band yet. It took a couple years for us to actually form what we called, what the original name of the Hastings band was Southern Comfort, because that's what we drank when we were, you got to remember when you're 18 years old, back when we were growing up, you could drink. The legal drinking age back then was 18. So, although that doesn't account for Shane and Mike being 15. So we took during that couple years where Randy was learning, I was learning how to play. We wrote a couple songs that never took. I remember you wrote a song called All Mine, You're All Mine. And we had another song called Don't Worry, but they never made it into any of our song lists. They were just starter-up songs. And we're going to play a song for you right now. This was the first song that actually stuck when we finally started the band up in 1981. I remember all the guys had gone to Darien Lake this warm afternoon in the summer of 81, and Randy and I were in the barn just fiddling around. I jumped behind some drums to give a beat, and Randy came up with this lick, and we wrote the song called Southern Comfort. So here we go. I need excitement every day. I need the thrills every way. Only one thing that treats me right, and I'm gonna drink it every night. I love my Southern comfort, it's what I need. Southern comfort, keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. Whoa. My job now, ain't got no time. I've been drinking, and I don't mean wine. I don't like brandy, I don't like rum. I like my Southern comfort, like to have me some fun with my Southern comfort. It's what I need. Southern comfort, keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. Whoa. Let's go into a verse. Now life ain't over, it's smelling sweet. 'Cause I've been dying to meet a little lassie that likes to drink some of my Southern comfort. Well, what do you think about my Southern comfort? It's what I need, Southern comfort. Keep me warm, keep me warm, keep me warm. Whoa. Keep me warm, always say we might make mistakes in the song when we're playing them, but as long as you have that big ending, by the time you finish and you hit that last note, nobody will remember the mistake. So always make sure you have the big ending. Oh man. Yeah, so we started the band up in '81, and it was a great time for being alive, and we try to get together these days every once in a while, and we're all so busy. Randy plays in like 4 different bands, and my wife and I have our own business, and we play shows too. So when you're young, you seem like you have forever. The summers seem like they last a year, and then as you get older, time goes by. You say, "Hey, we'll get together," and the next thing you know, it's 4 months, and we haven't seen each other, and that. So that's just, as you get older, that's just the way things go. But those early days were super special, because we formed bonds with not only ourselves, but with a group of friends that still get together whenever we can, to this very day. In fact, our one rhythm guitarist, Mike Conley, my wife and I just went out to dinner with Mike's wife and him just like 2 weeks ago. So we all get together, and I have gone out with our bass player was Shane Davis, and I went out to dinner with him and his wife and my wife not too long ago too. So we all still get together whenever we can. But it was those early days in the '80s that we formed the lifetime bond together, and it was I think that's something you get when you're playing in a band, because a lot of people, if you don't play music, you don't realize you got that group of 5 guys or whatever, and then it's us against whoever's out in that audience, and if they like us, then it's thumbs up. And there's other times that we played where people didn't like us, so we only had each other to turn to, and it really forms a bond playing in a band. That if you have never been in a band or played with other musicians, I don't know if people can understand the bond that forms, because we've been playing 40 some years, and I still sometimes, especially if it's a really important show, I'll get a little nervous. It's always you're out there and you want to put your best out there when you're playing, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of our alcohol days, we thought we sounded good, and then we'd hear the tapes and they're like, "Woo, that was something special." But I can remember the Conleys, where Randy had lived on Catherine Street, and right across from on Main Street, the Conleys had lived. And Randy's sister Sherry was friends with this Michelle Conley, and I can't remember exactly what it was that we needed some help with a guitar or with an amp or something. And Sherry's friend Michelle said, "Hey, my dad and brother have amps, and maybe they can help you out." So we met the Conley family through that, and we, at that time, Shane was playing guitar, you were playing guitar, Brian was playing guitar, and then we brought Mike in, and he was playing guitar. So we had no bass player, and for a while, Mr. Conley was playing bass for us, because I think the guy that we had that was going to play bass was Shane's cousin, and he was off. He never came to practice, so he never learned any. His heart wasn't into it, so he wasn't. And in fact, we couldn't find a drummer, and we had a drum set, and I drew straws and I lost, and for like the first 3 years, I had to play drums and sing. So I was like Phil Collins back then, but having to sing and play drums. And the same thing happened with the bass, where one of the guitar players had to break down and become the bass player, and they drew the straws, and Shane lost. So Shane played bass, and Shane's gone on to be one of the great bass players in the Buffalo area over these last 40 years. He's been in with the Nerd Band. He's and I think he's in a country band now, but he's still out playing every weekend. So it does my heart good seeing Randy plays pretty much every weekend. We play every weekend, and it does my heart good to know that core of the band still gets out there and plays every week. Still gets around the Western New York area. So I think that's just great. That we've kept that music in our life for so long. But you remember? You can tell them a little bit like that barn, the light show that we used to have.
Well, it started out. I didn't know anything about electricity, and I got electrocuted about 5 times. And, I learned how to wire stuff, and we had floodlights back then.
Right.
There was no. The big bands had the powers. We didn't have those.
We had the floods.
We had floodlights, and we made a board, and yeah, it was like a concert stage in there.
Yeah.
Before there was any in the area.
Right. Do you remember we used to have the neighborhood kids would come over and we would put on concerts, because when we were starting, you remember, like I said, I was like 16, 17. Randy was that age too, 17, 18. Same thing with Brian. And Shane and Mike were a couple years younger than us. So they were like 14, 15 years old or so. So before we could play in bars, we would put on these concerts for the kids. And yeah, we lived in that barn. We partied in there all the time. We just, that just became our place to meet up and to hang out. And I loved those shows. And I think that's how we got into the high school thing. You remember there was like a battle of the bands, and one of the girls that was putting that on came to the barn and saw us play and put us into the battle of the bands. And I thought we were way better than I thought we blew away the one band. I can't remember their name, but I thought we were pretty good that night during the battle of the band contest, and they called it a draw. And what it was the winner was going to be able to play a whole school dance at the old junior high school, and so they ended up putting both of our bands together, and we still laugh. Remember, we were doing original songs and cover songs, and the other band said, "Hey, we got this song that we wrote," and what was it, Randy? Strutter. I think he was hoping that people forgot that Kiss existed. So yeah, this is a song of ours called Strutter. So those were our early days of playing, and before there was a Canal Fest, I remember playing a gig down at the river. Now they have that beautiful band shell down there, but when we played it in '82, it was just like one of those eggshell type of things, and we played, and what I remember more than the show that day was that a friend of ours was dating a girl from Cardinal O'Hara, and the Cardinal O'Hara guys weren't happy about it because we were, Tonawanda High School, and they jumped like our friend, and they threatened. Randy was really into lifting weights back then. He played on the football team, and he was all in shape and that. He was like, he reminded me back in those days, Randy, he reminded me of Meat from Porky's. And the rumor was, because we had put it out there that we didn't like what they did to our friend, that they were going to come to the river and beat us up. And we were all, Randy, I remember Randy, like, before the show, pumping iron, getting all juiced up and all ready to go for this big fight that was going to happen. And they never showed up. And the rumor, I remember, was that they were going to come to a dance. And so the rumor went all around the high school. And I remember sitting outside. I used to smoke back when I was 18 years old, 17. And I was having a cigarette with a friend of mine. And the Cardinal O'Hara guy's car came into the parking lot of the dance. And all of a sudden, the entire gym, because the rumor was coming around that they were going to come to beat us up, the entire gym of Tonawanda guys ran out and chased the car out of the parking lot and stuff. It was a cool memory. And then they just yelled as they were running out of the parking lot, the Cardinal O'Hara guys were, "Tonawanda sucks!" And that was the last thing. I can't even remember those guys, what their names were, but that was kind of the end of that story. But we kind of lived life like we were the outsiders. We were the greasers, and those guys were the socias. So we continue to play, and we'll do a song right now for you that we wrote in 1986 together, and we recorded it originally in 1990 for an album that we made called The Meaning. And then we re-recorded it again in 2005 for Cold December album that we did. And this is a song called Break Me. So Randy, you want to hit it off? Every time I look at you, and it's all the same. You treat my love like it was some silly game. You look me right in the eye. You're telling me some stupid lie. You wanna break me. You wanna break me. Well, out on the street, they're selling drugs to the 7th grade. But the cops won't do nothing, 'cause they're all just afraid. But if I leave my car on the street at night, they'll make me pay till I see the light. They're gonna break me. They're gonna break me. They're gonna break me. Come on, give it your best shot. Let's see what you got. Just break me, baby. When I this here life, the only thing I got that's mine. And I'll keep on pushing till I reach the end of time. Oh, now if you're up to no damn good, best stay away from my neighborhood. You'll never break me. You'll never break me. You'll never break me. No, you'll never break me. You'll never break me. Oh no. All right. You almost got it. Oh man. But yeah, that was that was a song we started writing more about not just about boy girls situations or drinking and party songs. That was one of our first, I don't know if you want to call it protein or protest, angry song that we wrote. But there was a lot of there were so many great times those days, and just a special those memories. I can remember so many nights where we would just sit and talk about music and talk about what we wanted to do with our lives, and everybody, I guess, growing up, they have those moments with their friends and that. But I think what makes our friendship special is that, as I said, 4 years old, and he moved out. He moved next door, and here we are now in the 60s, and still together, and still the best of friends. The neighborhood kids, what I talked about. I remember one time taking a screwdriver right between the eyes for this guy. One of the kids in the neighborhood, Randy's dad was working on stuff outside, and this kid grabbed the screwdriver and he ran off with it, and I ran and I said, hey, bring that back, and the kid threw it at me and got me right in the eye, or right between the eyes. How I didn't get my eye knocked out there. And then I picked it up and threw it at him and got him right in the back of the head. I couldn't do that today if I hadn't tried to. How do we have that aim back then when we were so young, you know? And I remember your dad taking us to Syracuse one time for a basketball game and that. And Randy's dad used to ref football games, right? When the football?
College football, yeah.
College football, yeah. So those are great moments and that. My folks, every once in a while, we would have Sunday drives, and every once in a while they would take, like Randy and I when we were kids, and we'd go get popcorn like in the country, which was actually, I think, Lockport. We thought it was a country.
Back then, Lockport was.
It was a country, yeah, because our little world was Bouk Street and that little surrounding area, and we used to also do newspapers together. And Randy built the best wagon with the best stereo in it, and I delivered the Tonawanda News. Randy delivered the Buffalo News, and we would deliver mine first, and then we would deliver his. And we had this huge speakers out of the paper wagon, and just blast all the songs. And we're talking, those are in the mid 70s, so those were like I remember Carry On Wayward Son was a big one of yours. Hot Legs, like I said before, Blinded by the Light. And we would just terrorize the neighborhood. And people used to think we were brothers. I mean, the Paper Brothers are coming again, making noise. And on Saturday, how did we do this? We were skinny little, like when I graduated high school, I was 137 pounds. But we used to there was a Teal's Dairy. And we knew one of our friends' sister worked there, so we got everything for free. We'd go in there, and they actually I used to like this Great Crush, and because it was a donut shop, and it was also an ice cream place. So we would go and get a dozen donuts on Saturday morning, and I'm talking like the cream, the powder, like the worst donuts. We get a dozen of them, and we get a milkshake, and we'd eat it all like one sitting in that. And we never gained a pound back then. And then the world played a tricky joke on us as we got older. So now I gain weight if I just go buy a donut. I went by Krispy Kreme what is it called now? The big donut, Paula's donut. And I gained 5 pounds just driving by it. So we can't do the dozen donuts anymore. And Randy used to get the strawberry one, milkshake, and then he'd pretend he was Gene Simmons. You get upset I'm telling these stories about you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, he'd pretend he's Gene Simmons and, hey, Tom, and he'd take a sip of strawberry and blow out the...
It's weird to see Kiss retired, It's just weird.
It's weird to see our heroes that we grew up with are really old. I mean, the Stones are in their 80s. Elton John is 77, and I just watched. There was a show he got. Him and Bernie Taupin got some award. I'm not sure what it was for. It was for songwriting. It was a songwriting award, and they had all these other acts pay tribute to him. And then at the end, Elton and Bernie came up, and Elton can't even walk anymore. They had to put him in a chair. He can still play piano great, and that he's sitting down, but he could hardly walk. So I'm seeing that, and I was like, wow, it's crazy. And yeah, you said the Kiss they're retired, and Springsteen is like 75, and I saw a video of him. He's back on tour again, and he had all white hair, and I'm like, wow, and then you remember, oh yeah, we're 60. So I guess those guys, it's just part of life. They're old, and then some of the guys that we admire, like Prince and that are gone, or Tom Petty. That's the thing that's weird for me, is I have the radio station, the Tom Petty radio station, and he DJs on it, and you hear him DJing, and you forget for a few minutes that he's passed away, and that. So it's a part of life. But as we get older, we see our heroes all leaving us behind. But the beauty is that they left us these memories and all the great music. And my last story, I just want to say that, again, it doesn't involve music, but back in the late 90s, 97, my son had a seizure disorder, and he was in a coma at Children's Hospital, and Randy and Brian stayed with me the whole time in the hospital, and sat with me and helped me out. And I even remember at one time the nurse read the chart wrong and told me that my boy would never wake up again. And Randy and I ran up to the chapel and prayed, and it was just the most emotional moment. So to me, that's one of the special things about our friendship, is that it's not just the music, it's not just the good times, but we've been there and we've seen our parents pass away. We've lost Brian. And we've gone through all that stuff together, and it all the good times and the hard times are what really bonds us, I think, for a lifetime. And if we can make it to be 80, 81, remember we used to joke that one day we're going to be like that Simon and Garfunkel song. We're just going to be sitting on the park bench singing the old friends. And that's so that's going to be our show today for Hanging with Hastings. We're going to finish with a little cover of a Rolling Stones song that we used to always play out in the band. You'll know the song as we play it. Randy, you want to start off? Can't always get what you want. Well, I saw her today at the reception, a glass of wine in her hand. I knew she was gonna meet her connection, and if he was a footloose man. You want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. If you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. To the Delk's drugstore to get a prescription filled. I was standing in line with Mr. Jimmy, a man that said he felt pretty ill. We decided we would have a soda. My favorite flavor, cherry red. I played my song to my friend Jimmy. He said one word to me, and that was dead. I said, Jimmy, you can't always get what you want. You want. You can't always get what you want. If you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. Yeah, Well, I saw her today at the reception. At her feet was a bleeding man. She practiced at the art of deception. I could tell by the bloodstained hand. What you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want.